All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today we have a very special edition of the Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. As I speak right now, Bitcoin is at a new all-time high of 82,700. We're fluctuating around a lot. I'm not sure where we're going to be when you guys see this video, but we hit a new high over the weekend. We had a giant run up over the weekend, which is most unusual. So I want to go through what happened over the weekend. I want to go through what happened last week and talk about what's happening this morning. So we got a lot to go through. Extremely exciting times for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. So if you're new to this channel, we talk about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners all the time. If that's content you're interested in, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, if you could smash the like button, it does help the channel out a lot. We're going for 300 likes. Thank you, everybody, for all the likes that we've been getting on all of our videos and live streams. It has helped out a lot. With that said, let's get to Bitcoin. I want to go through what the Bitcoin miners did last week because I do think we had a turning point last week. It's been a very tough year. For those of you who have been sticking with this all year, you know it's been a tough year for the Bitcoin miners. The last 7 months, Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners have been struggling, but it does look like we've had a big breakout that we were looking for. We've been pointing it out on the chart for the last couple of months. It looks like it happened. So let's take a look at what the Bitcoin miners did last week. Okay, so this was 1 week activity, ended last Friday. So this was Friday over Friday. You're going to see at the bottom of this chart in gold, as always, is Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a phenomenal week last week. It was up 11%. So that is a big move for 1 week. It's one of its best weeks of the year. But with that said, all 12 of the Bitcoin miners that we follow did outperform Bitcoin. We had 6 Bitcoin miners go up 30% or more on the week. So this is why I say I feel like we're turning the corner. We're going to look at the year-to-date chart next, and it's going to show some evidence of that as well. But this is one of the best weeks in a long time for the Bitcoin miners. We had a group of 6 over 30%. We had a group of 5 basically between 19 and 22% up on the week. And then in 12th place was BitDeer, up 14%. So that did lag behind a little bit, but still outperformed Bitcoin. So a spectacular week for the Bitcoin miners. And some of the Bitcoin miners that have been out in the lead had another good week. TeraWulf, which is in first place for the year, they were up 33% this week. And Core Scientific, which is in second place, was up 30%. So they were 2 of the 30%, but some others that have been lagging behind. RIOT, which has been in last place every single week all year until this week, they were up 36% this week. CleanSpark was up 31% this week. We're going to talk a little bit about CleanSpark in a minute as well. So you can see all in all, this was just a spectacular week. And the good news is, so far, I'm making this just a few minutes after the market opened this morning, but so far, we're actually going up from here. Okay, if we switch over to year to date, you're going to see we now have 8 Bitcoin miners that are in the green year to date. At one point, this was down to just 1 Bitcoin miner that was positive year to date. The other 11 out of 12 that we followed were in the red. Several of them were down about 6 weeks ago. Several of these Bitcoin miners were down in the neighborhood of 50% year to date, while Bitcoin was up 50 or 60% year to date. Well, now you can see Bitcoin in gold up 83% year to date, but we do have 2 Bitcoin miners that are beating this substantially. TeraWulf is up 244% year to date. Core Scientific is up 206% year to date. So we have 2 Bitcoin miners dramatically outperforming Bitcoin. This is the ratio that we expect over the course of time. You can see all the rest are lagging, but starting to catch up. Now, all of a sudden, we do have 8 Bitcoin miners in the green. This doesn't count today's activity. I do expect, I've been talking for the last probably 6 weeks, that I think all 12 Bitcoin miners will be in the green by the end of the year. It's possible all 12 Bitcoin miners will be in the green by the end of this week if things keep going the way they're going. Several more are flipping today. We'll see if that holds on, right? Anything can happen during the day. We have wild swings. The volatility in this area is real. The Bitcoin miners are extremely volatile. Bitcoin itself is very volatile as well. So I always like to talk about that in every video. Please be very careful. Understand the volatility. Okay, before we go on, I just quickly want to talk about CleanSpark. CleanSpark did not trade on Friday, and it is not trading again today. Trading was halted. This is now the second day. So this is over what looks like a technicality. CleanSpark put this note out on Friday. CleanSpark comments on trading halt related to clerical warrant conversion error. So they go through, I'm not going to bore you and read this line for line, but basically this appeared to be a very, very tiny error in one of their submissions to the SEC. I'm not sure why it's now resulting in a second day of trading halted, and these have been 2 giant trading days for Bitcoin. So CleanSpark is missing out. I do assume ultimately this will get straightened out and their stock will catch itself up, but we'll see what happens. It's tough to miss days like this. So this is an unusual situation, but they do say right here, there's no changes to the company's business, operations, or financial statements. So they go out of their way to say this is not a business thing, it's a clerical thing, but it's really hurting their stock right now because their stock is halted. It's not trading. Okay, so we had hit over the weekend a new high of 82,544. Subsequent to that, while I'm making this video, we got to 82,939, so just under 83,000. Now, we closed out last week, Friday when the U.S. equity markets closed, we were at $76,700. You can see we're now up almost 8% over the weekend, including Monday morning. And the important thing to know is the U.S. equity markets have opened this morning. Now, on a gigantic run up over the weekend on small volume, a lot of times you will see a big sell-off Monday morning. So far, the first 45 minutes into this, we are not seeing that. Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners are continuing to move up. So at this moment, just to call out a few, Marathon's up 17%, Riot is up 16%, Iron is up 13%, BitDeer's up 19%, HUT is up 8%. Those are some of the leaders. Core Scientific and TeraWolf are lagging behind. They're up 3% and 5%, but like we just looked at, they are number 1 and 2 on the year to date by far. So this happens very frequently where the 2 leaders tend to lag on the days where the other ones catch up. We're going to see if these hold today, but right now all 12 Bitcoin miners are in the green. Most of them are up double digits again Monday after the week that we just looked at, where most of the Bitcoin miners were up anywhere from 20 to 36%. So that's why I say this feels like a real breakout. I do want to go to the Bitcoin 1-day chart, but before we do that, I want to take a quick look at what the Bitcoin spot ETFs are doing. Okay, so this is a chart of the Bitcoin spot ETFs, and you're going to see right now they have total inflow since the beginning of just under $26 billion. They did have a 2-week run where they brought in over $5 billion, and then they had a few days here, you'll see, at the beginning of November, where there was some outflow. One heavy day of outflow, $541 million, but then this turned back around. On November 6th, there was $621 million of inflow into the ETFs. And then the next day on November 7th, they broke their all-time record, $1.373 billion of inflows. BlackRock represented over $1 billion of that. So a huge inflow on Wednesday, another huge inflow on Thursday, and then we finished out the week on Friday with $293 million of inflows. So the Bitcoin spot ETFs have been buying, and this is one of the things I was worried about coming into this morning. With the giant 7 or 8% run up over the weekend, sometimes we see the ETFs sell off and start to take profits. We see institutions sell off and start to take profits, whether it be in Bitcoin itself through the ETF or the Bitcoin miners through the institutions. But so far, we're not seeing any of that at all today. We're going to see if that trend holds. If that trend can hold today, then we are really seem to be at the beginning of something big. I did say on Friday's live stream and reiterated here on this video that I do think we have turned the corner with the Bitcoin miners. It was a very long run. I'm going to go to the 1-day chart for Bitcoin and show you just what we've been looking at for the last 7+ months. So you can see this descending channel. We were bouncing off the top and the bottom of this. We got rejected. We hit a new all-time high back in March. We got rejected in May. We got rejected again in June. We got rejected again in July. The next run up, we didn't even get close to the top, and then things seemed to turn around. And finally, here late October, we did seem to break out of this. We retested it again. We broke back above, and then you'll see a bunch of red days in a row. But you're going to see this 1 week of red days in a row got us right back exactly to the top of this line that had been resistance for over 7 months. So on that day, it seemed like resistance turned into support. We've had nothing but a week full of big green days since then. We're now about 22% above this line of what was resistance that I believe has now turned into support. So it's for this reason that I think the next leg is up. I'm targeting $90,000 for Bitcoin. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not saying it's going to go there in a straight line. We do get pullbacks. You can see even inside of this big bull market, we had a full week of red days here. So I expect more volatility ahead. The number one thing to remember with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners is volatility. So if you're afraid of the volatility, this is not the right place for you. But in the meantime, we are at $82,900, just under $83,000. So we finally have gotten the breakout that we've been waiting for all year for Bitcoin, and it is starting to pay off in the Bitcoin miners as well. I'm looking to see if this trend can hold. The fourth quarter could be really good for Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners. Hopefully you guys are making some money on this. Please, of course, everybody do your own due diligence. If you're trading Bitcoin or the Bitcoin miners, they are very, very volatile. So you should understand the nature of that volatility, and you should have the tolerance for it if you're going to be trading it. So with all that said, I hope everybody's making a lot of money. I hope you guys found some use out of this video. Thanks so much for joining us. Please remember to smash the like button. And of course, if you enjoy this content, remember to subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much, and we will see you in the next video.